We are back again with our subject of mental health. Our today's topic is empathy. How to develop empathy. Now, what is empathy? If figuratively said, empathy is to put your foot into another person's shoe. To be more elaborate, it is to develop insight into the motives, the behaviors, the attitude of another person without value judgment. We have to understand the mind of another person without value judgment. This skill enables us to set aside our own perceptions, to look into the mind of another person in a situation we are not necessarily familiar with. It helps develop acceptance of others, their attitude, their behavior, however different from our own. If properly nurtured, empathy can have a medicinal effect on the person, on the distressed person. It is effective in building healthy mutual relationship. In spite of being different in every respect, two or more persons can come close to one another and develop trust and mutual understanding in a very friendly way. And it helps build a wonderful relationship among people. Empathy can be wonderfully effective in giving support, particularly to the people who are terminally ill or have been socially stigmatized or having HIV or such problems. These people can get enough mental support from an empathizer. Empathy is a healthy method of addressing others' mental needs, and thus it creates a sense of respect among people for each other, even if they are quite different from one another. Empathy and sympathy are often used interchangeably, but they are not the same. Empathy, in true sense, is different from sympathy in its emotional meaning. Now, what are the differences between sympathy and empathy? Sympathy is feeling for others. Empathy is feeling with others. Sympathy is prescriptive, but empathy is participatory. Sympathy is a personal call and instinctive, but empathy is a social call and it is a conscious, deliberate act. Sympathy has a temporary effect, momentary effect, but empathy is a long-term act and it has a long-term effect. You will remember, those of you who have seen the movie The Great Dictator, you remember what Charlie Chaplin said in his great speech. He says, "We think too much, but we feel too little." The feeling we have to feel not for others, but with others. That is what empathy means. The basis of both empathy and sympathy is compassion, understanding and acceptance of others. But the effect of empathy is more. It is expanded to take care of the feeling and emotion of another person. Now, how to develop the skill of empathy? First, you have to be a good listener, a patient listener. You have to intently listen to what the distressed person wants to say. You have to understand. You have to feel. his mind. And that is possible only when you can listen to him properly. And listening has a magical effect. And while listening, never interrupt what the person is saying when the person is speaking out his or her mind. You can ask short questions now and then only to make the person feel that you are listening to him patiently and taking care of him. Secondly, be careful of your body language so that the distressed person feels comfortable and candid, frank with you. If you send a wrong signal, the distressed person will pick it up immediately. He or she can understand how you are reacting or responding to his or her statements. If he or she finds you not careful enough, not caring enough, or not listening intently, he or she will turn off, and the act of empathy will fail then and there. Thirdly, try to understand the unspoken parts of your communication with others. We say a lot of things. We listen to a lot of things from others, but some things, some elements remain unspoken in our communications. You have to pick it up so that you can understand others properly. Only words don't give you proper understanding. That's why you have to be careful of the unspoken parts of your communication with others, and also try to give the impression that you are caring for the person, you are careful of his situation. While interacting, don't change the subject abruptly. That is very important. Stick to the subject you two are communicating with each other. Changing the subject abruptly doesn't take the communication too far. Fourthly, don't play the role of a judge. Don't try to deal with the distressed person from a superior position. Don't be a judge of his or her acts. If you do so, the person will see through the superficiality of your act. Try to motivate people. Be a caring friend. And lastly, practice dealing with interpersonal conflicts both at home and at workplace. It will help you to develop the skill of empathy so that you can resolve conflicts that take place around you. The best form of empathy can come from a person who has gone through similar experiences. When a doctor assures the relatives of a critical patient with the words, "Don't be worried. I have seen such patients many times in my life, and they have recovered wonderfully." Now, the words from an experienced person, an experienced doctor, have a magical effect on the relatives of the patient. They get reassured that the patient will recover soon. In conclusion, I will relate something from the great poet Rabindranath Tagore. A young poet whose name was Omiyo Chakraborty had lost his elder brother all of a sudden. His elder brother had committed suicide. And this young poet had lost all zest for life. He didn't find any meaning in living. Life has become meaningless to him. He wrote a letter to Tagore saying that, "I don't find the meaning of living. If such a wonderful, able young man like my elder brother could end his life so easily, why should we live? What is the meaning of life?" Tagore gave a reply to his letter, a wonderful reply. He wrote in that letter, I can feel your pain and bereavement. In my life, in my family, death had come time and again to offer me a big garland of tears. Don't become depressed after watching only one death before you. I have suffered all my life. Death had come into my family so many times. And if you read this letter, it's there in the book called Jibon Smriti, written by Tagore. If you read this article, this chapter, you will realize how the written words can bring a person back from bereavement, the pain of bereavement and loss. Thus, I think Tagore is a great empathizer for us, for all humanity. And empathy is something that brings back our faith and trust in humanity. That's all for today. Hope we'll meet next time with a new topic on mental health. Thank you.